What if I told you that Mahito's fight with Itadori helped unlock something that changed him forever? Yuji gained the mentality of Sukuna to disregard everything with overwhelming aggression. Don't believe me? Well, shockingly, you may not have noticed, but even as early as chapter 21, Mahito had the mindset of Sukuna, where he stated, "Don't limit yourself. If you're hungry, then eat. If you hate, then kill. Do whatever you want." This is word for word, bar for bar, what Sukuna stated in chapter 238. But this is only the beginning of what I'm about to reveal, as Mahito exposed that Yuji is like a curse and no different from him. So instead of Yuji proving the enemy wrong like every other shonen protagonist, he agrees Mahito is correct in a huge twist that requires us to start from the beginning, which is Mahito's obsession with destroying Yuji's innocence. Whilst his friends were curses manifested from fear and negative emotions, there was a huge difference between them. The others were created by the fear of natural disasters like volcanoes, whereas Mahito was the personification of human resentment. Humans have hatred residing deep within their hearts over things like politics, religion, money, sex, desire, and of course, anime. Just look at it on Twitter. It's a cesspool arguing about the dumbest of things. So with these emotions increasing over time, which is why Nanami states that Mahito is an infant who only received a form recently, becoming a special grade. This meant Mahito was a child born out of the worst of humankind, the species that takes too much pride in itself. However, like the other curses, Mahito embodies the belief that his existence is a true representation of what humans are supposed to be. After all, his name translates to true human, and the stitches are a stark reminder of Frankenstein's monster. Mahito is stitched together with bits and pieces of what makes humans, but he's not truly one. Just like the monster who ended up hating Frankenstein, he too thoroughly despises humans. One of the best Easter eggs that deserves a like on the video is that Mahito's curiosity led him to the cinema, where we see one of the grossest movies to ever exist, The Human Centipede, in which a scientist experiments on humans by stitching them together, trying to reach new limits. Mahito is no different and resonates with experimentation, with Yuji Itadori being his ultimate one. In chapter 21, he claims humans don't have a heart. Instead, they just have a soul. In fact, to Mahito, every being in existence has one, even plants, where they are all equal. This means a curse and a human are not very different because they both exist as an outcome of nature. As a result, the moral high ground that humans have built doesn't actually exist. This philosophy of Mahito arises from his lethal power, idol transfiguration. It is the ability to manipulate and reshape the souls of anyone he chooses with just a touch. I mean, we all cried with its recent display against Nanami, right?
And I've decided that I want to die.
With this special power came another conclusion. The shape of the body is defined by the shape of the soul. Yuji's rise into a stronger power level cannot be explained without exploring this idea. Mahito's fixation on souls provides the answer to many secrets, informing Junpei that he believes there is no worth in life and it is like water flowing through the earth. It simply exists with no purpose. He imposes this thought onto Yuji throughout the story as his mortal enemy to acknowledge it, torturing his innocence to eventually claim he is a cog in a machine. This began with Mahito forcing Yuji to kill humans for the first time. Before it occurred, in chapter 24, Yuji avoided questioning the value of life altogether. Confronted by Junpei's questions, Itadori had to face an important dilemma. Would he kill a bad sorcerer? Yuji replies that he hopes that he doesn't have to do anything like that, because then the choice to kill will open in his mind, and the value of the lives of his loved ones will become vague too. This ultimately brings Yuji into an existential crisis, as he is left with the curse of wanting to die surrounded by his friends. However, if they lose value, then he too loses his purpose. But Yuji's mentality is not the same when it comes to curses. In fact, Gojo states that he is crazy up there. No matter the shape or name of the curse, he will kill it without remorse. Which is why Mahito pointed out how hypocritical humans are. As he puts it, the so-called dignity obtained by human reason, because they assume their lives are more worthwhile and dignified than everything else. What gives humans the right to place themselves on such a pedestal? Simply put, we consider ourselves a superior race because of our intelligence and morality, which is why a human killing a curse is considered right and heroic, but if a curse kills a human simply following its instincts, it is deemed to be completely wrong. Thus, humans are good whilst curses are evil. However, Mahito forces us to think of a crucial flaw in this logic. Morals do not exist as laws of nature. Humans make them up by acting on their own sense of reasoning. The same morality should apply to curses when they also possess the same level of intelligence. Without the human lens that we all view the world in, nature dictates the strong eat the weak, the wolf hunts the rabbit, and of course, Mahito's prey that began his fateful rivalry with Yuji was Junpei, a kid bullied for fun by his classmates. He instantly gravitated towards Mahito's worldview, as just like the cursed spirit, he claimed he would press a button if it would kill everyone who hated him. However, the Jujutsu investigation leads Itadori to become friends with him, until Mahito steps in to torture humans and experiment. He forced Itadori to grow in regards to the value of life. Mahito manipulates Junpei, turning him into a sorcerer so he can falsely take revenge on his classmates for killing his mother. Here, the answer to Yuji's question regarding if he would kill a bad sorcerer is addressed, as Mahito puts him in situations that strip him of his innocence. Itadori is faced with a disfigured Junpei as he begs Sukuna to fix him. However, what do? They laugh in his face. This was the start of Yuji's journey to becoming a natural calamity to curses. He loses it, realizing that no matter what, a curse will be a curse, as he declares that he will kill Mahito. To him, Junpei's death could have been avoided if he had understood the situation better. It also links to Nanami's statement that Yuji can feel extreme anger and empathy for others. This immense feeling made him believe what he said to Junpei about not killing someone was a lie. And when Itadori punched Mahito, it made him bleed for the first time. This is because Yuji could see the contours of the soul, unlike any other sorcerer, since he was Sukuna's vessel. Remember, you cannot damage Mahito with normal attacks, and instead of cowering in fear, he took this opportunity to grow. The Shibuya incident is when it hits its peak. By the time it was 11:14 PM on 31st October, Sukuna had completed his massacre. When Yuji finally switched back, he saw the destruction Sukuna could cause in just a few minutes. This left him traumatized. The good thing is, the anime put the happy music in the background, am I right? Slap! However, since Yuji wants to give people a natural death that can be defined as good, Sukuna pissed all over it, and his L against Choso proved that Yuji couldn't make a difference without strength. This selfless nature makes him believe it was all his fault, begging that he should be killed as he loses his sanity. But the shonen protagonist antagonist power kicks in. His willpower pushes him back towards Mahito, only to see Nanami's curse is also now placed on Yuji's shoulder.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But things only get worse from here on, as Mahito purposely used transfigured humans to chip away his mental strength. He states, "You are me," declaring that until Yuji accepts this, he will never win. Mahito even abandoned the Cursed Spirit's plan, all because his desire to kill Yuji was stronger. This reminds us that Mahito's mindset is the offspring of Sukuna, as both share the same willingness to burn everything down and become a walking calamity, which is exactly what Sukuna criticized Jogo for not having, as it hindered him from reaching Gojo's level of power. But by the end of this video, you will understand how this mindset was passed on to Yuji through his torture. Which reminds me, Nobara is outside the Shibuya station battling Mahito's clone. How's that going? Oh my god.
Yep, and what makes matters worse, in Yuji's mind, it is as if he killed her with his own hands due to his lack of power to stop his mortal enemy. Nobara proceeds to leave another curse on his shoulders, informing Yuji to tell everyone it wasn't so bad. Despite feeling lonely in her childhood, in Nobara's dying moments, she found confinement in her new friends. But since life is a gamble, it never worked out. Mahito used this opportunity to nail Itadori with a black flash and continuously beat the living daylight out of him as he had given up. Their battle is declared a war of truth. Whilst Yuji will save anybody without a second thought, Mahito would do the opposite and kill. The victor decides who will be left standing in 100 years. Since Jujutsu Kaisen is based on Buddhism, Mahito follows the natural law of impermanence, which states that eventually everything will fade away as nothing lasts forever. This turns Yuji's strong value as a human being into garbage. This is exactly why Mahito and Yuji are two sides of the same coin and the biggest eyesore for each other. However, there is a character who is quite the literal opposite. Our besto friendo, Aoi Todo, as he saves Yuji from death, stating, "The sound of the Gion Shoja bells echoes the impermanence of all things. The color of the sunflowers reveals the truth that the prosperous must decline. However, we are the exception." This isn't Todo just spouting some random BS. It's actually a very wise way to put the other extreme end of Mahito's worldview, that everything actually matters. Todo is quoting the tales of Heiki. The love that Todo and Yuji have for each other transcends time, so it will never fade, despite the story claiming that the mighty fall at last. They are as dust before the wind. Both Mahito and Todo agree that cursed energy flows through the world. However, they come to different outcomes. The two even clash on this, as highlighted when Mahito says that this is their last chance to curse each other. However, Todo blows a kiss at his energy, showing the difference in their worldviews. As a result, Yuji finally understands that the morals he stood so proud of wasn't actually his conviction, it was his excuse. Todo explains that the moment they became sorcerers, they were freed from the control of the misfortunes that the world surrounds them, as they are fighting for a purpose bigger than themselves. Itadori doesn't need an answer to what they're entrusted with by their comrades. Rather, they need to keep moving forwards to find that answer. This is their punishment for killing curses and living as sorcerers. So, as they clash, the two sides will give their all to prove that they are correct, forcing them to evolve and gain the upper hand. That's how Mahito, Itadori, and Todo managed to reach 100% of their potential. However, to create a chance to exponentially grow, Mahito bets his life and everything he stands for. And it worked! After witnessing what Gojo had done and experiencing the use of Black Flash, he had unlocked a new layer to his powers, which allowed him to activate a domain of 0.2 seconds whilst using his curse technique in a single step. step. He also found the true essence of his soul due to Black Flash. Instant spirit body of distorted killing. This mindset to grow is no different from Sukuna's, as 1000 years ago he sought perfection to even modify his body, all for the sake of Jujutsu. Kashimo, using his X-ray, recognized the king as immaculate beauty who had succeeded in self-embodiment of perfection. This, funny enough, is exactly what Mahito's domain expansion is called. Mahito tells Itadori to wish him happy birthday, being the moment of his true birth. However, this starts a chain reaction, making Yuji realize that he too has to evolve, and so finally brings himself to win by using Black Flash on top of his signature Divergent Fist. Todo provides this opportunity with the greatest bluff, causing the soul-crushing Black Flash to land, returning Mahito to his lowly form. This puts the fear of God into the cursed spirit as Itadori runs this man down. He desperately tried to puke out transfigured humans, but there's no more. This is when Itadori admits it. I'm you. At first, I wanted to reject you, but you're right. I'm gonna kill you. Itadori agrees that he was only trying to convince himself that Mahito was wrong, even though there isn't a true way of knowing it. It was just his ideals that have been bred into humans for centuries. He accepts that just like he wants to constantly save people, it's natural for Mahito to want to kill people. But this doesn't mean that Itadori is accepting defeat. He will still kill Mahito and will keep doing so whenever he turns into a curse. It doesn't matter what his name or form is. Itadori will still kill him. Why? Well, this is because Itadori has finally realized and accepted he doesn't need an immediate reason to kill curses. This is exactly the mentality that Mahito and Sukuna have, which they don't give a shit on why they do what they do. It doesn't have to have a reason. Mahito had literally left his impact on Itadori to think like a natural calamity, but for curses, disregarding all else with overwhelming aggression. For example, Yuji holds onto this rage as he battles Sukuna later on in chapter 213, that he is a curse and he will make the king strife his misery. The same suffering he made others feel needs to be returned. A debt has to be paid. Because when he questioned Sukuna on why he causes so much misery, Yuji was left uncontent with his answer. This resulted in his further conviction that all curses must die. Yuji claims that he will eat and do anything to kill the king, even consume his own cursed brothers to unlock a new power, a contrast to Sukuna eating humans. However, the only thing separating the strongest, which are Gojo and Sukuna, is reasoning. A human wants to protect and they want to kill. We are selfless, yet selfish. It's impossible for only one to exist inside of a person, as it coexists with the other. This is why Kenjaku stated that the cycle of curses would never end as long as Yuji and Sukuna coexist. Itadori shows us that we have to accept that both of these qualities live inside of us. Until we accept this, we cannot become whole. As Mahito stated, this was a battle to decide who will be left standing, and Itadori's victory and all the curses that he has killed might show its impact after he's long gone, maybe a few hundred years into the future, and that's okay, because for now all he can do is play his human role as a cog in the machine. As Mahito tries to run a cinematic masterpiece by Gege Akutami delivers the message: the hunter has become the hunted. The end is extremely poetic. Mahito's life truly came full circle. The Black Flash that he was so grateful for is the same tool that led to the end of his life, and the way he started his growth is the way he'll die. Mahito and Itadori's first clash led to the curse using Junpei's susceptibility as a tool to support his own growth, and the whole time Kenjaku was doing the same with Mahito. His desperate want for growth led him to his grave. Now, to enjoy more peak fiction, watch our video about Yuta's true power and how he will help defeat Sukuna.